Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.
Good morning and welcome to the second session in the 6-session series of High Conversion Seminar webinar. Before we start today, I would like to make sure you can hear me. So if you can hear me, just type in the chat room hi or okay. Today, I want to start with a few housekeeping. Number one is some of you experience issues with sign up to the Facebook group. We have been taking it over and we have been fixing the Facebook group links. So right now, when you get an email tomorrow or you go back to any of the previous emails, you should be able to access the Facebook group. It has to do between private and the closed group. Secondly, there was a few issues with website, and I believe they are fixed now. So you should be able to access all the recording. Today, I want to start with a small review of what we did in the previous session and highlight a few key issues or a few key points. Before I start, I want to ask you the question is, why should we always start with a review? From my experience in education and from adult learning experience, adults shall be reminded all the time with what are the key points they had from the previous session. So please, if you run these seminars over multiple sessions, like you have a break or a coffee break, or you run a multi-days workshop, please, in the very beginning of every session, you should go back and put the audience into sequence. Tell the audience exactly what were the key points from the previous session, what this session about, and how the program fits together. So I will start here with the first review. Everybody on this session is looking to engage audience, to expand reach, to increase sales, maximize profit, and achieve immediate results. So these are the 5 key elements which is we are looking for through our seminar webinar. And we also touched a little bit on how do we segment or stage our messages through the journey. So we have this slide here, which basically shows our customers will come through general crowd. Then we have audience, we have targeted audience, we have leads. The lead is somebody who I am interested. I know that these individuals are actually interested in my program. However, I don't have an active conversation with. So any lead will be someone who has interest in my program. I got contact information, I have phone, I have emails. I know they are interested in what I do. However, I don't have an active conversation yet. When they come to be prospects, prospects are individuals which are engaged in conversation. And then C stands for client. And the client is someone who will take the value of my program. However, they don't pay me money. They are someone I can also model them as someone who will pay me a little entry fee to come to practice and experience what I do. And then we have the main customers who are paying sustainable money to sustain my business. CRE are the recurrent customers by upgrade or coming again for renewal. RE called referred customer who will refer you to somebody else. And RE small means retired customers who are customers no longer in my program. And before I proceed, I want to touch on a few points here. And this is always a discussion we have in our programs here. So when you talk about a lead in this model, we describe a lead, somebody is interested in my program or my content. And this lead will eventually transform to somebody who's buying my program. So how can I get this lead? This lead, they could be contact you made inside networking event. They can be somebody who downloaded your lead magnet, like a report, a technical report, and someone might be referred to you, and someone will say, okay, can you call so and so? Here is their contact information. Then when I have a conversation, I will become a prospect. How do we find the conversation, or how can we establish a conversation? In the old days, conversation will come through a phone or through one-on-one meeting. However, nowadays, the conversation may come through videos or video messages, or they could come through seminar. So this particular content of the 6 weeks is set you with a sequence. If you follow on every exercise, by the end of the 6 weeks, I promise you will have a 20 to 90 minute presentation content, and I will share with you in the very last session how you can stretch 20 to 90. You will have between 20 to 90 minutes presentation where your prospects attending in front of you can convert to the next stage. The next stage could be a free engagement, or it could be a paid customers. So you should also foresee that these stages are linear in this way, but you may jump from a state to another. So maybe a lead, they will put their email, and in the thank you page, they decide to buy my program. So the lead will transform automatically to paid customers. So when you look at these models, I always stand and say, you must have a strategy where 80% of your paid customers will be able to take step by step through this strategy. However, 20% may jump. Somebody, and we will understand when we talk about gut feelers today, somebody may be a general. He just seen you, he been an audience, see you an event, and he decided to come right away and pay for your program. And it happens in so many events. If you get referral or someone will bring people in, and these people will be ready to buy, they will buy. They will not need to go through the process. So the point I want to stress here is you must be able to craft a message for each one of these stages. One good example here, or one common example, is the internet. How many of you will have on their website, call me for a quote, or buy now, and they have a big button for people to buy now? If you do have a button for people to buy now from your website, you have to be careful here, because your website is meant to target audience and target audience to grab lead. So the website usually is customizable for audience, target audience, and the grabbing lead. If I push a sale on a lead with a price, it's too early. The lead is not yet in a position to understand what kind of service and what kind of benefits he will get and what kind of service he will pay for. And I am not in a position yet to position a price in front of him. So we are not here in Amazon mode. We call it Amazon mode because on Amazon website, you will go there to buy products right away. So people who will go to Amazon mode, they are already ready to buy. Your audience who comes through your website, who comes through your Facebook, who comes through your different groups, need to be prepared as a lead and the prospects. And I can also share with you a few discussions which we have internally in our regular weekly meetings, in our regular programs here. So what about when I go out and post in a group, oh, here is my program, you can buy ticket now. If you are the very, very first time to post in a group and you say buy now, it's too early. However, if you are engaged with the group with different discussions and people are aware and they have discussion about generally what do you offer, I believe you have the right or you have a license now to offer them a purchase mode. This is a model. At the end of the day, I would say this is a model. It's my own model of 10 stages, 9 transitions. I need the retired customers because I do have techniques to follow up and revive some of the old people who I did not talk for 6 months or 2 years or whatever you can define them. You can define each parameter. You can define how this stage will be with your customer. So for example, if you do lots of phone calls and you sell right away from the phone calls, most likely you have leads, then your prospects, and you step customers because you step clients. So when I have lead, I have a phone call and people will buy through the phone call. People will just become from prospect to customers right away. They need to experience in the phone call some services to give them warm feeling that they should buy. If you offer like Mariana and the other individuals, if you offer like a BioWell or like a discovery session for 1 hour or 2 hours, this is where your clients are. So if I get prospects into discussion, I say, yeah, you can come and attend my free seminar, or you can come attend one confidential strategy session or private session or whatever it is. Now you have to apply one-on-one techniques to be able to get people to buy and become customers. Enrollment means you have the prospecting and the clients over the phone or over free session. Selling through the stages means the prospect to a client or a customer will done one-to-many. Many of you may offer a free workshop or a low entry level workshop. So people will come and say, yeah, so if I collect $200, $300, are these clients or customers? Is up to your definition. Is up to your definition. If you push the $300 customers, now you upsell them with your program. If you say the client may also have a low entry, like a free or a VIP $300 free session, now the customer will be the one enrolled in your main program. And then when you upsell them through one-on-one or through renewal of the program or whatever. Another example here also, you may want to have a lead who will come through downloadable PDF files like ebook sessions, whatever it is. And then the prospects will come through a webinar session. And then you give them as a free entry to a program. And your program will have 2 upgrades. So the 2 upgrades will be when the customers will come. And we do have a few customers in this area, and they basically provide like a weekly free session, free meditation. And when you do weekly free meditation, we recommend with our formula that you will gather the information and get them a membership website on your website where people will sign up to your website to access the free weekly meditation and the recording. And then when they come into a more meditation or on the consequent program, they can be customer. So I can take this model, I can define it in the way I like, and I can adapt it to my business. The big question is, why do I need this model in front of me right now? I need it because I want to warn you that you must craft 10 different messages for these 10 different stages. And these 10 different messages shall be available for each one who will be engaged with you at this stage. Because if you provide the wrong message, so if there is somebody as a general and I say, buy now, I'm always competing on the price. So when you walk around the stores and you walk in Stevenson Avenue and see this sign of $5 all meal or day, or special 6.5 on a bunt or whatever. They are looking at the general to come in, and the general will walk, and the interested people in the audience will look, and the interested audience, target audience of the bar will give more attention, and they compete on the price. If you expose your price in the first 3 stages, you are competing on the price. If you get your customers to be a client, you are now providing value, and you can price your business or your service for the value. And when you do it for the value, you do 2 things. If you provide reasonable price, you will retain more customers, and you can also name your price, because the customer can assess how much benefit he will get if they will engage further with you. This is, as I said, it's a Win Your Brand innovation model. And as I always challenge people, if you've seen this model anywhere else established in this way, let us know, because we are the creator and the original creator of this model. There are so many other models in the market. There are suspect to prospects and the lead to prospects and different models. All these models are valid. However, I call this model the mother of all the models, or the model of all the models, because it will give you a perception that you have 10 fingers. You need to have 10 messages. And the messages has to be tailored to each level of engagement. As I said at the end of this particular slide, you can customize this model to your own business. You can add more stages to it. You can remove stages. You can combine stages. You can ignore it completely. It doesn't matter to me. However, you now have the message that you may not see the evolving of your customers because you deliver wrong messages. The other part, which is the key point I was touching inside my presentation, is there are different types of presentations. And I am here focusing on the presentation which will talk about the value, which is a seminar webinar. And these webinars as introductory sales step. Introductory sales step inside my program can have 3 different forms. You can speak to sell, you can sell through presentation, you can speak to enroll. However, these type of presentation are for the introductory sales step, which means there are some other type of presentation you can give. There are information presentation, there are fulfillment presentation. For example, this particular presentation for me is a fulfillment presentation. So we promise a course and we deliver the content of the course. So I'm not here to speak to sell, I'm not here to speak to sell through presentation, and I'm not here to speak to enroll. I'm providing real value for delivery. So whoever signed up to this program and paid money, they deserve to receive the information which will be exceeding the amount of dollars they paid by 10 times or more. It will help them making more money, increasing more conversion, and basically sell higher ticket item by using this formula. So my presentation, last week and this week are not one of these type of presentation. This presentation, to go back here, it will be given to lead prospects or clients to convert, or it could be given to a customer to upsell to the next level. So if we are clear on this presentation, please type in the chat room clear. And I will go back and review quickly the differences between the 3 types of presentation. So in a speak to sell mode, I will be invited to a keynote speaker, and I may be actually getting paid. So if you are paid like $500 to $5,000 to $10,000 to give a keynote speak and a keynote speech somewhere, you cannot sell from the stage. The maximum you can do, they may allow you to have a book table in the back where you can sign your books. Or to be honest with you, if I structure it right, you actually can give free book to each one of the audience and ask the organizer to pay for it. So you can go to an organizer and say, I know you don't have a budget. However, if from your registration fee, you can charge your customers to $20 to buy my book. My book is sold for $50, and you can give it to your customers, and you pay me $20. And because you have 200 audience, you can buy 200 books. So you can make $4,000, and the organizer will look nicer because he will pick up $50 fees, for example, and he will give out a book which is already $50 in the marketplace. In these situations, you have to augment your presentation with areas where you can use text messages or emails or cell numbers. So the audience will be able to submit their emails to you, so you can follow up with a sales messages. So you are not allowed, what's your goal here is to collect as much as you can from the audience information. That's it. The second scenario, usually it's when you work with organizers or you do your own seminar, webinar, and you will need somebody to buy at the end of the seminar webinar. So when you go to Get Motivated seminar webinars or any of the different events, and you have a signing sheet. The signing sheet, I have a copy of it here. And this signing sheets will have a credit card information on it. And this signing sheet basically must have in the back a notice or terms and conditions. So I do have here an example of a signing sheet. And this signing sheet here, you can see information, and then you can see somebody credit card number, and somebody will sign. And on the back here, I do have some kind of terms and conditions. If I want to get this signing sheet to be signed before the end of my presentation or at the end of my presentation, it's a limited time offer, and this limited time offer usually will be in the same day of the presentation. This technique, I call it sell through presentations, because you have to take them and at the end you have to position your offer. The third technique, which is used by many other individuals, which basically having enrollment session. So basically you present, and after you present, you come and say, yeah, you know, I can spend 1 hour with you on the phone. I can do an assessment session with you. I can invite you to talk. You don't give any information about your real program. And then you have to sit for enroll. There are major marketing companies, I believe, that speak to enroll is a way. However, if you are doing it on the internet, it has its own difficulties. You will need, for example, on the internet, you will need a phone call. So if you are selling a $10,000 to $20,000 item over a webinar, a higher conversion rate will be if somebody will actually have a follow-up session, and you can have a phone call. However, the conversion rate on people actually pick up their phone, it's less than 30%. Selling through presentation by far is the most effective way, in particularly if you offer individuals free tickets to come to practice your program, or you collect their information and you offer them a 30 days no charge, or a 30 days money back guaranteed, or whatever it is. And all my 6 weeks workshop here is around selling through presentation. We believe we have the masterpiece in North America. We have a sequence which is highly converting. And if you practice this sequence with us, you should increase your conversion rate. So I will be focusing on selling through presentation. However, on week 5 and 6, we will talk about what are the differences between seminar and webinars, what are speak to sell, and we will focus on few differences. So when you plan your presentation, you should be able to plan it, please, for 1 type and one type only. You don't plan a presentation or a workshop for everything. When you come, last example I can provide here, when you go to these workshops and then they ask you to sit with a mentor or to have a business coaching for half an hour, and someone will be focusing on selling one-on-one. However, there will be also sales from the stage or through presentation. These particular workshops are confusing because people will not have the value of the seminar and the presentation because they will be away. And we have been seeing many local individuals are experience this in different types of workshops, and their conversion rate, to be honest with you, is much less. If they will do it one way, which is just selling through presentation or speak to enroll after the workshop, they should have a higher conversion rate. Having the mix will get them some conversion, and they have to stop here and ask you, what is the conversion you like to see? So I have been experienced with some of my customers up to 67% conversion. We have been experienced 20-30% standard conversion. We have been experienced up to 67 and 51 and 52. I myself achieved one time 117% of the room by allowing people outside from their friend to sign up their friends and put their credit card. So the point I want to stress here is design for one, practice it for 6 times, master it, and move forward with it. There are so many techniques, there are so many opinions in the market. Not all of them will convert because you will basically jump between one to another. So stick to one model and develop your masterpiece presentation. The last step here, or the most valuable part of what we had last time, was what is the proposed sequence? So the proposed sequence comes from emotional engagement status, where you have to reframe the problems. You should be also hook your audience, reframe the problems, build rational drawing, emotional influence, show the solutions. And these particular emotions can be triggered through the following steps. Hook your audience, express your expertise through information nuggets and stories. You can have a title, you can share your story, then you challenge your client, you share an irresistible offer, you proactively addressing objection, and then you close the deal effectively. And yeah, last time we talked about the hooks and express your expertise. I will review it very quickly, and then we explain. Today we'll cover the titles and how to share your story. So hooks could be stories, could be statistics, could be videos. And I always share the example I was giving by my mentor early on, that a hook shall be an action or words where your audience will open their skull, expose their brain, waiting for your wisdom. So I will say, if you start in this career, you should stick to statistics. Statistics by far are the safest hook. It will show you are an expert, it will show you are an interest, and people would like to know painful statistics. Then you can have your information nuggets. Your information nuggets will be examples or pain points where you will be able to solve for others. And if a customer sitting in the room, in this status, he will be a prospect. And if a prospect sitting in the room, and he understands that you solve the problems similar to his own problems, and he understands how he will join your program, he will be ready to listen for an offer. And once you say a nugget, you will automatically proceed to a story. And the story or a testimonial, it's a pain point, 3-dimension defining moment and happy outcome. So any story given from the stage shall be a bunch of pain points. And then it will be a defining moment, how people change, and then happy outcome. If you come and say, I want to share with you a story of Jim or Jackie or Alan, and they have these problems, they were struggling, they could not do this, they cannot do this, their business is struggling. And when I met them through the internet, for example, or when they came to one of my free sessions, they sign up to my program and they achieved 1, 2, 3. If you say, when they came to my free session, everybody now is expecting to come to a free session to achieve the happy outcome. If you say, when they join my program, everybody now is waiting to understand how to join your program. So you have to be careful of which words do you use, because you can confuse everybody else. And we'll come back to this a little bit when we talk about your personal story. And then this is what we call it, seeding your offers with a story. When you come and say defining moment to join my program. The other part, which was the key element also, was this part, which basically, this is, we call it the emotional map of how people receive your messages. So if you have your workshops, your words here, people will driving an action on the black arrow. People will receive using their selected attention. So if I come and tell you, join or come or do or whatever you want to do, people will receive my messages through their goggle, through their selected attention. If they have similar experience, so for example, I will come and say, I will talk to you about business coaching. People will come and then in my business coaching, I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if I say business coaching, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these are 7 statements. If individuals have been bad experience with business coaching, their selected attention will stop them at this business coaching, and they will have biased interpretation based on whatever they understand from business coaching. They have their uncontrolled influence through their self-talk, group talk, or the internet about business coaching, and they will retain a bias using their biased memory. Something negative or positive is not necessarily negative. Sometimes it's positive. They will retain it, use their biased memory. So they did not listen to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is a problem. So if I want to overcome selected attention, I have to come and tell you, are you open to listen about, or to learn about, or to hear about business coaching? Are you open to learn about life coaching? And if you don't mind, forget everything you know for 5 minutes. Allow me to have a fresh access, and I will share with you different types or different information which may change your mind. Are you ready for a mind change or a software reprogramming? These techniques, I will elaborate on it more and more, because if you are a professional speaker, you should be able to use these techniques on a daily basis. You have to break. Sometimes we break the biased interpretation by showing, and everybody understand life coaching as so and so. Do you agree? Now let me give you what you don't know. So using these techniques, it will be very valuable for you to engage the audience. Each one of you here has or will have a unique program which will help people to move forward. What blocks you from delivering the message about how good is your program is you don't understand by far that this is what's going in your audience mind. And when it comes to say in a group setting, this will be much more. You know, when you come and say, who here agree that this is a program, like for example, meditation will get you away from pain, and meditation will help you to overcome and increase your self-esteem. Who here will agree? Raise your hand. When people raise their hands, they actually do the self-talk and they do the group talk. They influence others that they agree. So this is one of the models we developed also at Win Your Brand. And to be honest with you, the repeat uncontrolled influence is our own status. And we add this state to this particular model. And that's why I say this is one of the original models we go around and share so people can understand a little bit in the psychology of buyers, not how to present from the stage. You need to get them to accept and move to your journey. Whatever people will retain, it will play with their feeling and thoughts. It will create emotion and behavior, and their emotion and behavior will drive their action and results. And these cycles you will be able to influence through your presentation. When I come here and talk about the next step was behavioral emotional engagement. And we got so many phone calls and text messages and emails. Yeah, you can call me or you can email me or you can text me or you can post it to the group if you have any question on this particular presentation. In this behavioral emotional engagement trigger models, we segment people triggers. We want to trigger people to follow our wishes based on 4 different quadrants. If we provide a value over $1 quadrant, which means we tell you how much it will cost, how valuable, how credible the program is. If we have a relationship people who like to know how the program or how your service will influence them. If you have information over process, which basically have more information on how your system works, or you have the time to delivery or the urgency. Individuals around the globe are split, and the emotional status with the negative and the positive means people are in negative mode or in positive mode or in neutral mode. So each one of these status will have negative, positive, and people will change based on that. What I want to say here is 40% of us are primarily relationship. 22% of us are information. The combination of people who have at least relationship part of their decision making or their dominant decision making are more than 76%. So if you will come and give somebody how your program works, not what you can do to them, and not why you are credible of doing it, and not when you have the results, you basically are targeting only the 22%. I understand in Calgary, majority of us are oil and gas. And when you have environment where you have oil and gas people, majority of them will be process. However, CEOs and the successful business owners are usually budget and time to deliver. Vice presidents and people who deliver, they always know how to deliver from the process and when. And people who are administration assistants, nurses, holistic practitioners, majority of the time they know the process, but they always have the relationship or the hard domination. So picking up the right information, it has a value in which one you will engage and which one will tell you, I want to know more. And our complex model is done here. In this complex model, we talk about how the behavioral engagement will be along with the decision dominant dividers, which I will explain in a few minutes. And these pillars is what exactly you need to have as a checklist inside your presentation. And these pillars is consistency, reciprocity, appreciation, scarcity, social proof, authority, commitment. And you can use kinesthetic, audible, visual, and digital visual behavior to deliver. And this is the mother models or the second model which we'll be using to craft our presentation. And I will show you rationale of everything. So on the emotional state, we know that people, when they are in a negative mode, their priority of information might be different. They may appreciate value first, However, when they are in a happy mode, they appreciate relationship. So when we celebrate, usually we go to get big relationships. And when we be in a devastating mode, usually we take care more of how much do we spend. This can give you an idea. So if you are happy and you want to celebrate, you don't care about which restaurant you go to. It comes at numbers 3 or 4, how much you will spend. And when you are in a happy mode, you will not care about how long it will be. You can stay overnight. However, if you are in a negative mode or sad, you don't want to spend, you basically don't want to stay, you are more careful of your time, and you don't want people to be around you. So you can map this information, and I will drip pieces in every session on this information. The following decision dominant dividers, I call it conduit. And this conduit, it maps to the human body. So people basically can listen with their brain. They need to understand the logic of what you say and the logic of your program. People can listen with their heart. They need to feel good about your program and how it will do for them. People can listen with their guts. And the gut feeler, it's blue because you don't see them that often. This is our 7% of the population. If they do exist in our life, we don't need to sell them. They either love you and buy from you, or they don't love you and they don't buy from you. And the last step, the last conduit, is people will need to know the steps. So if I am standing in front of someone and I want to say, how do you feel? I will talk to a feeler heart conduit. If you stand in front of engineers or accountant who are mainly steps and logic primarily, and you tell them how you feel, they will blink. But if you tell them, what do you think? They will, or what do you do? They will give you an answer. This blink for 10 seconds, it may cause you a loss of engagement. So when I craft my messages, I have to balance to talk to feeling and to talk to logic and to explain the steps. And I will show you the balance next time. I will show you how you can structure the presentation where you will talk to each one of these. The point or the takeaway for you right now is, what do you think? What do you feel? What do you do? Are one questions, are not three. These three questions are one. Are one question asked to the right, proper type of people, and then they will respond immediately. And I know many of you may challenge me here, and if you challenge me here, I want to give you this example. If you have somebody going through relationship issues, and you come in to say, what do you think about the other individual? Majority of the time, you will not get an answer. But if you ask, what do you feel about the other individual? Majority of the time, you will not be able to stop them from talking. Because when you ask, what do you feel? You hit the feelings. When you hit the wound will express. So when I present from the stage, I have to understand first who I am. And if I am a process guy, if I always talk about the how, if I always talk about information, please remove this part from your talk. You will naturally say it. Focus your brain that you want to talk about the logic for people to sign up for your program, and the logic and the feelings when people come to your program. Where can I express this information? Inside your story. Remember, the story was three legs, pain points. How will I talk about a pain point? I will say maybe Jem feels that his business is not doing great. I can say Jem think that his business doesn't do great. I can say Jem knows from the information that his business is not doing great. Each one of these have a better resonant with one of the room, with one type. So if you are a feeler, you don't have a priority of logic. Just to quality check here, each one of us has the 4 dominant dividers. We start with 1 and the second as a 2 dominant based on our emotion status as well. So if you are primarily feeler, you also have a brain, but you don't advance the decision based on logic because you appreciate the feeling and the doing. And you have to be also aware of the risk of this conversation. If you have 2 individuals inside your seminar webinar, majority of us, we found out by analyzing individuals that we will stick to different dominant dividers. So majority of our partners will, in a normal state, they will not be the same dividers. So how many of you will go home and talk to their partner or to their friends and say, I think this program was good, and the answer they will get, oh, I feel this program is not good for you? How many will go back and say, I feel it was a good night, a good event, and somebody will say, I don't think so? If you create conversation, or you are in a situation like selling timeshare or any of these interesting products where you have to bring the family around the table, you have to watch for this, because you will have the feeler and the thinker. So if you have material and people will go away with this material to discuss it with their spouse, I warn you that you should at least have a deposit, or you should tell them, we will offer you an opportunity to jump on a phone call where you bring the other parties to the conversation. If you deal with real estate investment, this is the way. Because in real estate investment, it's a major investment for the family. If one of them is in the room, if he is dominant logic, he will never carry with him feelings to the other partner. If the other partner is mainly feeler, they will never have the logic. How many of you, and I can give you a quick story. One of you, the audience here, she was in a new date, and when she went after the first day of the workshop, and she came back second day, and I presented this model, she said, yeah, my partner, when I went, she was asking so many questions, and I didn't know how to answer, because she is basically heart, gut feelings, and her partner is logic steps. He wants to know every details. He wants to know why this was good for her, not what make it good for her. So this kind of conversations can kill your business. So please, when you work with partners, watch out this, and I will explain it more in the next lectures as well. The last part, we call it the mindless compliance pillars, and the mindless compliance means people will follow your wishes and people will follow your programs and what you tell them. The first in mindless compliance is called consistency. You have to be consistent. So I started on time, I come before time, I apologize for last time upfront, because last time we had a Wi-Fi jam and I had to change a few things, and we have to start 5 minutes or 7 minutes late. However, you always need to be consistent. Reciprocity means you give, you get. So if you give people value on your seminar or webinar, most of the time you will get feedback and you'll get back from them sign up. You have to use appreciation, and in appreciation mode, it will be like people like. So when I say give high five, when I say raise your hand, when I say do you like it, this is where I got appreciation likeness from my audience. So the one-way communication, when I come and ask you, can you write, is clear. When I come and ask you, write in the chat room, I am exercising appreciation. You should also understand that you must give a secrecy or an urgency. So once I say you have to sign up, you have to give them urgency and the secrecy. Scarcity or urgency can come through a limited time offer, can come through a special promotion, is not an open-ended. We use scarcity on website for landing pages because we usually have a counter. So I heard this from one of my customers the other day in his workshop. He said, how many of you will sign up to download or to buy a ticket when there is 180 days left? And how many of you will sign up when there is only 1 day left, or 6 hours left, or 5 hours left, or 2 hours left? So if you position scarcity in the right way and create urgency, people will move. How many of you wants to book for the summer, a vacation? You can just go and say yes in the chat room. Why did not book it right now? Because there is no offers. But if I'm coming and say, I will have a Christmas offer or a Black Friday offer, which will end up by end of Black Friday, how many of you will buy? Many of you will buy. And that is exactly what the impact of urgency over scarcity. You will also need to social proof in your presentation. Social proof comes from your stories. Social proof comes from your testimonial. Social proof will come from how many people like your page online. Social proof comes from interaction of people. The following pillar, it's authority. And authority means what makes you authority to provide this service. Did you have awards? Did you have successful stories? Did you have a personal experience? And remember authorities when we talk today about your personal story. And the last pillar, or number 7 pillar, is called commitment. And the commitment means people will commit. So people will sign a paper saying, I commit. People will say, yes, I agree. So these 7 pillars, they should be checklist in every single conversation you have, in every single presentation you have, that you must get audience to appreciate, to give you back, to commit to what you have. And you should be able to articulate authority. If you cannot articulate your authority, people will not, a segment of people will not comply. And then you can go to the ripple effect that people don't like what you do. Coming back to our schedule today, as I said, today we will cover on the title, we will cover share your story, and we add an item here which is called agenda. So if I look at the sequence of my presentation, hook your audience, express your expertise, we covered it last time, and you should by now have at least, if you do the homework, and I encourage you to go to the website, open the homework and do it. And if you don't want to share it with the group online, because many of you give me feedback that they are concerned about, they are still having maybe competition in the group or whatever, it doesn't matter. Email it to me. You must have slides, one for your hook, at least with one story, and at least one information nuggets with one story. And today we will talk about the title, how to share your story, and the agenda. And then next time we'll keep going, drilling in the other part of the presentation. So the title of your presentation. What could be a good title of your presentation? If you currently have a presentation, please go and type in the chat room titles of your current presentation. People usually, when they have these titles, people usually come up with different set of titles. I want to just give you some tips on how to title your sales presentation or your signature presentation. Your title can be pain, can be pleasure, or can be information. So the 5 someone here will write, increase your wealth, increase your health and well-being in 3 key areas. This is a pleasure or information title. And do you allow me to go and give you an insight about this particular title? If you said yes, I can show you how you can convert this title to be more attractive for people to understand. Okay, so you said yes, so I got your permission. Okay, now I want to start with the following. 90% of us will buy on pain. If you even understand how movie theater and the cinema advertise for Father's Day tickets, they will tell you, you don't have a place to enjoy with your kids, come here. If you look at Disney cruises, it always, yes, it shows people happy, but it always talk about the pain of going for a getaway and select a destination. If you craft your title from a pain perspective, 90% of us will emotionally be drawn to your title. So increase your health and well-being in 3 key areas is a good title, but my feedback to you, yeah, I don't want to. I'm in a good health. Why I would listen to such thing? If I want to modify this to be a pain point, I can say the top 3 challenges to live healthy, or the top 3 challenges for your health and well-being, or the 3 challenges, the 3 barriers for your health and your well-being. If I move the title from pleasure to pain, people will be coming now to know the challenge. We always sit, and this was another angle to it. We were talking the other day, and I shared it in the last session. We looked at different books, and all the old books will talk about stories, and all the stories will look for pain. They always tell pain points. So people will be drawn to pain. People want to know the challenges. People want to know their pain. People don't want to have a happy outcome. So the challenge of being a millionaire, the challenge of your health and well-being, the 3 challenges of your of your health and well-being, each one of these challenges will cover one of the key areas. And if you stick with this title, I can show you how you can convert higher in the next stage. So when I come and talk about titles, the titles should be challenges, should be pain titles, should be challenges. It shouldn't be pleasure titles. And I want you to do your homework. Just go around and watch different advertisement and different marketing pieces, and see the program which is really sell. You will always find that these pain points are the draw. Now, I will come back to this point. So the point I want to summarize it here is, pick up a title for your presentation, which start with the pain, the challenge, the barrier. These are the challenges for your audience to achieve the happy outcome. And quickly, and I will be looking forward for your feedback in the chat room. If you agree with me, write agree. If you don't agree, disagree, and let's just discuss it more. What I'm saying here is, this is the practice and this is the models we understand, and we know it works. Okay? Now, after your personal story, after your pain point title, you need to come with your personal story. And here I have to stop and just emphasize a few things. If you remember the sequence here, who you are and what's your story, it comes around step number 4. You are literally 10, 15, 20% in the flow of your presentation. So in this sequence, you are about 10, 15, 20% in the flow of your presentation. So when you come and say your personal story, you did not say it before. You did not say it at the very beginning. You basically share the story at this stage. Step number 4 in the presentation. When you come and say your personal story will map to the same story structure. Will have pain points, what make you to change, and what make the happy outcome. And please, guys, if anybody not muted, just please mute yourself so we can just. So coming back to your personal story will start initially with pain points, and then what make you to change, and the happy outcome you have. And we have a very standard statement to say, and out of my experience, I decided, or I read so many books, and I designed a program to offer you. So when I come to you and I want to know from you the challenges, I would like to come to your personal story and see the pain points you have, what make you change, and what are the challenges you were able to overcome. If you understand this, Diane, and you read through the pain or pleasure or information, if you read through the pain point, pleasure, or information, you realize that the title of a pain point of challenges will make more sense, because if I talk about the challenges, I will come here to talk about my pain points and the challenges. This is what people need to know. If I come here in my title, I talk about the pain, I re-emphasize the pain, and I will agree with you that I have the challenges. All what I need to know from you, how to sign to your program. So coming to recap again, when you title your presentation on a pain point. Title it as the challenges, the top 5 challenge, the top 3 challenge. And from these challenges, you will be able to tell your personal story, and your personal story will have pain points, defining moment, and happy outcome. The following question will be, do I have to tell my pain points? Do I have to tell my happy outcome? Do I have to be vulnerable? My point to you here is very straightforward. Google and the internet has all the information. Why people will buy from you? People will buy from you only for one reason and one reason only. That you have the experience to be able to customize it to their own personal need. If you don't have the experience, people will not come buy from you. Because if I only buy from you information, the information exists everywhere. So if I share with you a video, to give you a quick example here, if I share with you a video of this 6 hours workshop, and I will not tell you, you know what, your homework right now, which is truly your homework, that you will figure out at least 1 to 3 different titles for your presentation, and you should be able to craft your personal story based on pain point, defining moment, and the happy outcome. And I will not make the learning personal to you. You will not be able to change, and you will not be interested to join. So when you tell your story based on pain point, defining moment, happy outcome, and that's what make you decided to offer your program, and who are you working with, here you are telling your own why. And if you are telling your own why, at this stage, people will appreciate it, because if I come back to the original sequence, the audience are hooked, they understand the experience and they can relate to it. They know now about the challenges, and now they are waiting to know who you are. So when I say who I am, after I am the expert who can help you out, it will position yourself in their mind in a completely different position. Okay? Any questions at this point? So the homework for today, or part of the homework of today, will be the title of your presentation. It should be a pain point. Then you can have your personal story, and you need to craft your personal story based on a pain point, defining moment, and the happy outcome. And at the end, you will say, and I developed a program, or I joined a program, or I offer this service because I would like to help you and to achieve the same results and to guide you. Now, many questions we got after that. So, should I be able to tell stories or testimonials from my customers after my personal story? Yes, you can. You can actually give examples after your personal story. And here we'll come to the point to question, how long is your presentation? When I come and say your presentation is 20 minutes and you can expand it to 90 minutes, the 20-minute presentation will be the presentation which does not have too many stories. But the 90 minutes will be the presentation where I can add more stories. Should I come after my personal story here and add an activity to elaborate the program? So for example, I will come and say, and because of my expertise, I developed a new meditation program or a new breathing techniques. And you like guys to practice this technique. You can actually inject an activity tailored to emphasize how good is the program after your story. And you'll be able to inject these activities in a different areas when we talk about it next time. So when I design my presentations as pieces, book, information nuggets, titles, my story, stories of clients, testimonials of clients, and the agenda, you will be able to be fluent standing in front of the audience, no matter how the time is going by, no matter how the time is going fast. You will be able to plug and unplug components. It only takes less than 6 weeks to practice this particular strategy. I know for some of you, they need to have handout. They need to read from sheets. I would tell you, I don't read from sheets. I understand the structure. I understand where to plug. I have wealth of stories I developed over the years, which you can also develop over a few weeks, few months. And all what I need to do is I just need to say them in a different places. So when you design your personal story, it has to be pinpoint, defining moment, happy outcome. And at this point, we have to discuss few issues. What about if I offer more than one program? Can you tell a successful story about more than one program at once? If the answer is yes, okay, scale it up, look at a higher level of abstraction, and share your story. If you cannot, like for example, somebody will be a photographer and a business coach. Can you say pain points about a business coach and a professional photographer? The immediate answer is no, because the audience are different. Audience who are looking to buy special photography or a marquee frames or calendars or whatever are different from audience who will buy business coaching and training. So when you are in front of your ideal audience, you have to think about what is the personal story which will share the same pain point and this pain point will be relevant to my customers in front of me or my future customers in front of me. And my pain point, I can talk about defining moment, and I can share with them the happy outcome I achieved and how I will be able to provide them similar service. When you position it from this way, you have now my answer on what kind of variety of service you can do. So if you are a life coaching, if you are a fitness coach and a naturopath or a nutrition coach as well, you cannot talk about life business. You cannot talk about fitness. You should talk about lifestyles, because you can help in two different areas. But if you can help if you talk about your journey of losing weight, and all what you talk about is losing weight, and you cannot inject both services, you must not have both services. You must have one service. People will not buy. Remember, I shared with you the ignorant model before. People will not buy from you if you offer more than one service. And when I stand out and say this information, people will come and say, no. People will buy from me and I can carry multiple lines. Yeah, you can carry multiple lines, but you don't grow massive in one line. And if you carry multiple lines, and if you are not the face of this line, you can still do it. Like if I'm talking here about somebody will stand in a webinar, will stand in a seminar and say, I am so-and-so, I have this pain point, I find a way, I had to change, I find a way, and when I find a way, I have all of this learning compiled into a book and a step-by-step program to help you out to achieve this happy outcome. And I can give a couple of examples of stories of people who are using my program. So when I talk in this way, I cannot be the photographer, the musician, and the business coach. Because this is the combination which is I always see. The combination which is I always see in the market is somebody like me who would love to, he was a part of a band early on in his life, and maybe he played till he was a teenager or whatever, and he had a hobby of being a photographer, and he ran a few businesses, and he maybe have a life problems, and he became now a life coach. And he believes that if he will stand and play all the cards, if he's a musician and he's a photographer and he's also going to give you advice for your life and advice for your business, at this point, people will not buy because it will not carry one credibility. Remember, the pillars we talked about, you need to have an authority. And the authority is one authority and not more than one authority. Now, when you have the pain points in this way, you are the face of this business. I don't want you to be confused with the following model. You may be able to sell programs online. You may be able to offer services where you are not the face of it. You are not the one who push it forward. You are not the one who give the modality or the practice. Yeah, if you are not the face of the program, you can carry it. Or if you carry two different businesses, you need two different presentations. And when you stand and present, you need to stand and present and sell one offer only, not multiple offers. When you have your table over there as a showcase, remember, the pillars here will talk about the authority. Establish the authority in one. And I want to come and talk to you about one thing. 3 weeks ago or a month ago, I was in an event in Edmonton, and there was a face reader. And the face reader was a very, to be honest with you, I never seen a face reading before. You know, like I have so many customers who are readers in so many different, they read almost everything you can ever believe in it. from nature, from animals, from energy, from salts, from coffee, from tea leaves, trouts, cards. They read everything, except this was my very first time to see somebody. I have customers who read flowers as well. And this is the very first time to see somebody who reads face. And she was authorized from a place in Australia. And when I walked by, I said, like, so why do you have all these card readings or these card boxes on your table? You are similar to everybody. Everybody reading trout or read or do different readings. They have all of these sets of different cards. They display it because they want to display authority that they can read all of these cards. And I just basically explain, if you want to be authority in face reading, and face reading is new here or not common, it's enough to have your face statue, because people will ask you, what is it? But if I will have the other cards boxes, you are like everybody reading trout or reading cards or reading palm. You are not authority in reading faces. And I don't push people to do whatever I say. Just basically, when I have clients or customers who trust me, I feel obligated to give my blunt opinion from the heart with their permission. So I ask for permission and I say what I can say. So what happened there is I went back in 1 hour and I noticed that she actually removed all the boxes of the card, and she basically have an empty table with the faces. And she did great in this show. She was always busy. Whenever I go by, she will always busy, because people now are curious what's the authority she has. And she has a certification from an agency in Australia or somewhere, or an institute somewhere, where she's actually getting this certificate. And she had the certificate with her in the show. So when you understand the impact of an authority, who you are, like for me, I was presenting since 1992 in my life. And I was able to close so many investments, so many sales, so many attracting new clients and the new students to my different groups of research and different groups of business. So I have been doing this since 1992. This is my authority. I've been doing it, very successful doing it. And the awards I received speaks out of the success. And that's why I share with you this model. Now, will this put me an authority in front of your eyes when I tell you I'm a professor at the university? No, it will take it away. So when you structure or you plan your personal story, you plan your personal story based on the pain points you experience or pain points you've seen somebody else experience. So one example of somebody I worked with a year ago, she will design a program where you put pen to pencils and you can write your own, for clarity, that you will write your own diary or your own plans every day, and you will basically write your thoughts, and she had a technique for that. And her pain point have been extracted because she lived with individuals who have been suicide, and they have different pain points. So when she experienced their pain points, she decided to change. So your pain point for your personal story does not need pain point experience that you actually went through. Sometimes it's a pain point experience of something you've seen. Individuals who raise money for charity or for people overseas, these individuals will talk about pain points they experience and they see, but not necessarily themselves lived through it. So they can say, okay, when we visited these locations, we found out all of these issues, and we want to change about it because we are a good people and we want to change about it, or because we are civilized, we want to change it. So when you look at pain point, defining moment and happy outcome, you can borrow somebody else's pain point if you don't have it. Like if somebody is doing a suicide recovery and you have the pain point to suicide, you're already suicide right now. You cannot present it, okay? And I do this as a joke, so you should laugh, okay? If you laughed, thank you very much. If you didn't laugh, remember to laugh on this joke. remember the bottom line or the baseline is I need the story to establish authority. And if the story does not establish authority in one field, I will fail the pillars. And what this pillar is saying, you have a higher rate of conversion. And on authority in particular, I can tell you, I will share with you the examples later on, but there are 13% higher conversion to 56% higher conversion if you express your authority. Now, if I will tell my story based on my experience for an authority, what will establish an authority? A book will establish no questionable authority. So if I come and say, I have this pain point, I did this change defining moment, I achieved this happy outcome, I designed a program, and I also wrote a book, and this book is on Amazon. We always get this question, why do I have to have a book? I say, you don't have to have a book. But if you understand these models of human interaction, you understand authorities, do you appreciate the authority of somebody who wrote a book? It's amazing that we don't read physical books anymore. I don't read physical books anymore. But I still collect books. Whenever I go and somebody gives me a book, I have it. And whenever I go home, I have always questions, why do I have all of these books? And I can access them online and I can read them online. We still admire people writing books. We still admire bestseller author or even book authors. So if you understand the authority, you will realize that you have, or you should, or you would, or you may, or you might, wherever you are in your business right now, a book structure is a key for this business. Having a book, having a booklet, having awards, having your photo recognized on stages, establish your authority. If you don't have a book, plan a book and talk to me and we can make it a forthcoming book. Now, what about an ebook? If you have an ebook, you can make it a book on Amazon. It doesn't cost you much, less than $100. So a book, it's an established way for authority. We had a discussion yesterday with one of fellow of you here, and we talked about should I use testimonials? Sorry, should I use quotes from other people as a hook? Yes, you can use quotes. I don't recommend them, but you can use quotes. However, if I want to establish my authority in this field, and I use a quote of somebody else living who has a similar program or a close by program, I am shadowing my authority with the other people's authority. So we have been I have been a year ago in an event, and it's a live coaching presentation. It was one of these events where you go to the community center and you have a stage, and every hour somebody will come to sell for half an hour or so. And this individual stands there, and then he starts to talk about his life coaching and what he's doing. And then he talks about Tony Robbins and how he applies lots of Tony Robbins practices. And I stand there and I was looking for how many people will actually go and buy his program. And I'll tell you, almost none. Because if you are doing life coaching based on Tony Robbins, which is a friend of mine, a good guy, I highly respect him and I highly admire his change on our society because he's a very good transformational speaker. And he's a very good trainer and coach as well. When I mention him in my life coaching presentation, I would actually drive the authority to him. When somebody will come and talk about Simon Sinek, which is another individual who works with okay, I just skipped my mind. He works with another group doing leadership. And Simon is a professor in a university in the US. He has a very good exercises, excellent ones. Start with your why is one of the common one, very famous. Make him very famous. I want you to visualize the following, okay? I'm standing here and I'm helping you to find your why and I'm helping you to drive your business forward. And you are $100,000 customer per year for me. And I would say, okay, so Simon Sinek and Find Your Why is very important, and you have exercises, and I put Simon Sinek in. Will a $100,000 customer sign up right away to your program, or he wants to check out first if Simon Sinek has a similar program? And I know Simon to a great extent, and I know he also have workshops and training on finding your why and develop your leadership skills. So if you provide leadership training for youth or for adults, and you use Simon Sinek's or use Tony Robbins or Les Brown or John Maxwell books and all of their programs, is great. However, people will not buy from you. High ticket buyers will not buy your high ticket items. They will always go to the original and buy. And I don't want you to confuse yourself here, because if you are registered to John Maxwell program and you provide John Maxwell curriculum, your authority is limited by being authorized and certified by John Maxwell. And what you are offering is John Maxwell programs. You are not offering your own programs. So when you structure your personal story and you want to drive your authority as independent trainer facilitator or John Maxwell facilitator or whatever program license you want to sell, you establish your authority based on what you have. And we have to tell the truth. We have to understand. If you say a program and you copy it from somewhere else, people will find it out. That's why when I share my slides, I always say, you may find similar, but this is not the same, because what I do is completely different and unique to me. And I always ask people, if you find out similar knowledge, similar structure, or close by anywhere, tell me. If you find alternative models, it's great, because we can model things in a different way. So coming back, don't lose the trail of thoughts. We talked about, you will title your presentation based on pain. You will drive your story. Your story will be pain point, defining moment, happy outcome. And the whole goal of your story is to identify authority. What is your authority? If you want to use quotes in your presentations, you have to understand what is your authority. Somebody can position the authority that he will use the quotes because he has been on stages with these different individuals and he heard it live from them. He's driving the authority in this way. But if you try to drive your own authority, that you are providing a unique program tailored to you, it's your own learning, and you use other people who have similar programs, testimonials or authorities, or quotes, you are pushing the authority towards them. Okay? So once you finish your story, and I want to finish at 90 minutes because I want to leave like 30 minutes for questions. And so once you finish with your story, I will advise you to say the agenda. When you structure an agenda, you can say, today we will learn about what. So if I come back to Diane, to Diane, I hope she's still around. If I come back to Diane, I will say, what is health and well-being? Why health and well-being, and the challenges of being, the challenges for your health and well-being. This will be the 3 learning points where they will be in my agenda. Why do we need an agenda? Because adult learning, in adults need to be organized, and you need to give them a good looking agenda. They need to understand, and it needs to make sense, and it needs to have the steps. And the agenda also will show that the agenda will finish in 3 points. So if I go back to these people here, people will need stuff to be done on time. They understand how the time will be used. People, they will feel, they understand the process from the agenda. Feelers, they will feel good because they see what they have. And the people who can have value for this agenda, they can understand the credibility of saying this agenda. So having an agenda after your personal story, it's a very important point. And as you say, as you see here, hook, expertise, your title, your story, and then the agenda. This particular part, I come and emphasize, this is 10, 15, 20%, up to 25% of your time. So the agenda will come at a fifth step. Now, if I structure the agenda in this way, I will talk to you next time why I will structure it on this way. And after the agenda, you will tell people, yeah, are you ready to start? You get their permission to start. And then you will start to talk about your what, why, and the challenges. And next time, I will have formats on what exactly you should say and what you shouldn't. And the template I will share, it will be relevant to any coaching, training, expertise presentations. And from that point, you can augment them with your own knowledge, with your personal story. And from that point, you will be able to follow and engage your audience. To summarize the homework of today, you need to come up with a title, you need to come up with your personal story, and you should come up with the agenda. And see you next time. As I said, you will get an email tomorrow with the recording of this presentation on the website. And under the recording, you will be able to see the homework. And we corrected the Facebook group, so you can now use you can now join the Facebook. We corrected it, and the glitches with the website, we took care of it. If you have any questions or comments, email me or connect with me. And if you have any comments, any questions right now, we open the floor. If you want to unmute yourself or you want to type your questions in the chat room, and we can answer it. If you don't, we can basically break, and then we will come back a week from today. Was my good friend Rick, he said, is it okay to use an authority who give me a testimonial on, for example, my book? The answer is yes. If you have a book, it's an authority on its own. If you work in a specific programs helping people and flagship individuals in programs, you can use it as authority. The point is, the authority has to map to you as independent trainer, independent coach. It shouldn't be diluted by having an authority of somebody else who will be doing something similar. Because as I said, the test is very simple. If you have someone who is potentially $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 customer, you want them to sign up for your program without going out and testing or evaluating other people's program. And I would recommend, if you have a book, that you should always have your face with the book. When you should also have your book. And having a book is great because you can basically give out the book. So you can tell people, you know what, if you can sign up for my, if you sign right now on this email, and you can download my book. You can download an e-version of my book. One more thing here I have to say. We always have the debates and the question about why do we have books? We have books not to sell them. We have books to attract our customers to our program. So I will, maybe next time or in the time after, when I have time, I can show you a few examples of why do you need to have a book, and you don't have your mind that you will be selling your book. If you sell it, it's great, but selling the book does not cut it, because selling the book for $20, $30, $40, $50 is not the goal. The goal is to be in a program where people pay you a few $1,000s a month or a year. Any other questions you have, guys? If you have questions, unmute yourself. And if you don't have questions, we can just basically break. So I have a question for you. Did you find the information today useful? If you find the information today useful, please go in the chat room and say yes. If you can name one thing you will take away from today to apply, this will be an awesome as well. So for whoever joined late the program, the two courses will be online. You will have the homework. Do the homework, share it on the Facebook group so we can give you feedback. I know Rick did wonderful videos as well, which I really love. If you want to draft your story or you want to record your story on a video, record the story in a video and share it on the Facebook group. I will be more than happy to provide you some feedback, how it line up with the structure. And yeah, and thank you very much, and see you next time. And we always budget for 2 hours, but we always love to only have 90 minutes because we should have a couple of breaks in between. But I always love to have the last half an hour for just questioning, and you can actually center yourself around the information. Okay, last 2 minutes. If anybody will not, if no more questions will be asked, we can break in a minute or so. Okay, so no more questions. Thank you everybody, and see you next week.
Copyright 2017 Win Your Brand. All rights reserved. This video is subject to copyright owned by Win Your Brand. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this video is expressly prohibited, unless Win Your Brand has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.